All right, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about something a little bit different today, kind of just a gear overview, Vortex rifle scopes and what I think is good about them and what I think you may enjoy about having one in your collection if you haven't used Vortex before. All right, overall, I think when you're looking for good scopes and you're looking for precision rifle scopes or even hunting scopes and stuff like that, it's a little easy to get lost in the weeds with all the different brands and the different marketing schemes and stuff out there. One of the companies though that came onto the scene kind of early, I guess you could say, in the modern precision rifle era and in the modern optic era, and brought really good manufacturing and a good warranty to the game very early on, and has been proving that record for quite a few years now, is Vortex. If you've had any experience with their scopes, they, market them really well as being one of the higher end, warranties in the business, like one of the better warranties in the business, which most scope manufacturers actually do offer a lifetime full replacement type of warranty. But Vortex has been more vocal about it and been more upfront and vocal about just like, hey, if your product's broken, if you run over it, if you drop it, if whatever happens to it, we'll replace it, we'll fix it, type of thing. And in my experience, which I have had to experience a few times with Vortex optics, that's a great thing, and I have had to utilize that a couple of times. Pretentiously, I would say that I would like an optic that I don't need a warranty for, or I don't need to have to replace, but it's just not the reality when it comes to optics and mechanics and things like that in the nature of this game and hunting, shooting, and all the outdoor sports type of things. When it comes to optics, which are mechanical devices that are complex, right? You're going to find breakages, you're going to find issues, you're going to find malfunctions and stuff like that. When you look at just the complexity of the parts of a rifle scope, from front to end, all the lenses you have and the erectors and all the things you got going on inside, mechanical things are going to happen. Things are going to break. So looking at it from that standpoint, optics are kind of delicate instruments that you are incorporating into kind of a rougher sport, honestly. Shooting guns and hunting and backpacking and precision rifle competitions and stuff like that are kind of rough sports. There's a lot of things going on with a firearm and the guns and the recoil and all this stuff. So this being a delicate part of the system, it's nice to have a company that will back up their products with a good warranty and replacement and repair. Now currently I only have 2 Vortex optics in my catalog right now here in the shop. I've gone through several over the years. I've gone through a couple of different the Crossfires and that kind of thing. I have never had one of the Razor line. I've never put the money down to have one. I used to sell a lot of them, and I've used them on other people's rifles and stuff like that, but I've not personally owned the Razor line on the higher end of their stuff, which are the American-made stuff. But I've gotten good reviews from them, from feedback from my customers and stuff like that. So there's a lot to cover in the Vortex line. They have a lot of different, I guess you could say, levels of quality within their product line. And you can go something as simple as, and I've kind of got, let me show you. This one is the 2-7 from Vortex. It is a very, very simple scope. I have it on my 22. I've had it on here for years. And it is uncomplicated, simple plex reticle on the inside. And simple turrets and knobs, that kind of thing, capped like you would normally see on an old school style hunting rifle, 2-7 range, and it's MOA adjustments. And I've used it on this varmint rifle that whole time. I mounted it up here, years and years ago, and I've just gone to town with this thing. But it's their really inexpensive 2-7 model, and it's like one of the baseline ones you can get, the bottom of the barrel. But it's worked really well. The glass is nice and clear. I've got good clarity and parallax is fixed and all that stuff, but I've gotten great clarity out of this thing. It works really well out to about 100 to 150 yards, which is about the most I ever shoot with this 22. And I've been really pleased with it overall. I've never had to replace it. I've never had to send it in for repairs or anything like that. I've just been able to shoot and enjoy it in an inexpensive and simple way, which I really enjoy. All right, moving up the line, this is the Vortex Viper PST 2-10 in MOA. All right, so it's got the minute of angle adjustment. It has illuminated reticle, that kind of thing. Parallax is adjustable all the way down to, what does it say, 20 yards. I did have to replace this scope 3 times though, so let me talk to you about that. So not to skew the judgment at all, there's a lot of scopes I've gone through over the years. There's a lot of scopes I have had issues with. There's a lot of scopes I've had no issues with, and all different various companies and grades and qualities of scope. So let's just jump right into the saga of the Viper 2-10 PST Gen 2. It's an $1,100 scope. That's not cheap. I had to send it back 3 times. I got it from a trusted source. I traded for it with a friend, relatively trustworthy person, and it was new in box when I got it. And so I mounted it up, put it on the most precise rifle I had at the time for the category that I was using, which was actually this rifle right here. This is where it's lived most of its life. I had this rifle dialed in with the old barrel I had on it, and I was getting very consistently with the load I'd worked up for it, very consistently between half-minute, 3/4-minute groups. Started shooting the thing, and I'd print a really great group, everything would be good, and then all of a sudden I'd get a 3 or 4 minute flyer. 3 or 4 minutes. I know you can screw up shooting and stuff like that, but I was at a home range, on my own home, completely stable position, complete controlled environment. I knew what I should expect from the load. So when I started getting those weird flyers, I was like, okay, there's a problem. I couldn't figure it out with the turrets and stuff like that. It didn't seem to be that kind of an issue. So I sent it to Vortex, and in 2 weeks they had it back to me, no problem. And it was loose, something inside was loose, one of the lenses or something like that, or the reticle or something. It was something goofy like that. A stupid problem to have, but it would shift. The parallax would shift on the thing as I was shooting. I got the second one back. Okay, great, mounted it up, went back to shooting. Same rifle, same load. Print a couple nice groups, and then the whole group would move by a minute or 2. And it wouldn't hold 0 and all that kind of thing. And then I put the sunshade on the thing, screwed it on there loosely one day, and I was like, okay, I'll shoot with the sunshade. Let me just product test a little bit here, right? Well, I went to take the sunshade off after loosely putting it on there, and the front ocular, or the front lens came out with it. Unraveled and everything came out the front. Back to Vortex we go. Okay, that's the second time. So they sent it back. They actually sent me a replacement, I believe, this time. I don't think they actually I didn't write the serial number down, and I hadn't painted it or anything. It was new in box, so they sent me another one back. Life is good. Okay, couple weeks, great service. I'm right up front. They have a fantastic lifetime warranty service. They really do. The third one I got back, there was an erector problem with the something inside here, the actual inside the guts in this area up in there. Again, wouldn't hold 0, major shifts in parallax, and I couldn't actually get control of the parallax to get it to, 0 in and all those things, and it would just visibly shift while I was shooting. So 3 kind of similar problems. Sent that one back, and they sent me this one. That's the one I currently have right now, and I got to shoot in this one, and it seemed to hold okay groups. I haven't noticed any major big gigantic shifts in the MOA and the grouping with this one, so I just decided to call it and leave it. I've got it zeroed. I basically locked everything in place, got it down, got my 0 done with it with the one specific load, and I have just used it on my hunting rifle ever since then and not worried about it. The ocular ring and all those things are tight. Everything seems to be good on it. So 3 times I had to send a scope in. I don't know if it is just the 2 to 10 PST Vipers, this Gen 2, but I've heard from a lot of people that had problems with this specific scope. I don't know if it was just me. I don't know if it's just a handful of people, a small subset of people that had a problem, it was a bad lot or whatever, but there seems to have been an issue with this thing that shouldn't have happened 3 times in a row, and three different kind of different things, but affecting it in a similar way. To me, with an $1,100 scope, to have to do that all in a 3 to 4 month time frame, send it that back and forth that many times, get that much scope work done and warranty work done, I'm not pleased with that. I don't love that. There's a problem there. Now, whether it's a manufacturing issue or it was just a lot number issue or a problem they were having with that group, whatever type of thing, or this style of scope, I don't actually know. I don't know. I didn't chase the rabbit too far, because at the end of the day, the glass quality is amazing in these things. They manufacture some in the US, some in the Philippines, and some in Japan, from what I understand. I don't know where these are made. I'm assuming these are the Wisconsin made ones, or Michigan, something like that. But they're the higher end of the line. It's an $1,100 scope. It's not a cheap scope at all. And I was having problems with it consistently. And that to me is an issue that shouldn't be there for that high a grade of scope. That's my opinion. For that high quality, that high grade, and that overall quality is fantastic. The machining, the glass is super crystal clear. I love the glass in these things. The reticles are great. The parallax generally works fantastic, and you've got really crisp imagery and stuff like that. I love the size of this thing. This is probably one of the most perfect, well-rounded sizes of a scope for a hunting rifle or DMR rig or something like that. The illuminated reticle was great, worked pretty good. All those things are great about it. but I kept having issues with that, and it was big shifts in the points of impact and the group sizes and the spreads, and way beyond what normally happens when somebody screws up behind the trigger, me. And I knew enough about the rifle and my load so that I could verify that. You know, I could verify it, and I even put it on different rifles to check it with like a bolt action, that kind of thing. I did it a couple times, and I'm like, okay, there's actually a problem with this scope, and I've gotten 3 in a row that there was a problem with. I don't know if they just kept, I cannot remember if they just kept fixing the one scope. I'm assuming that's what was happening, as they were, because I know for at least 2 of the times that I sent it back that I can think of, they called it a repair and not a replacement. In the paperwork they sent back with it, because they give you a breakdown of what they found and what the issues are, which is, I'm saying, Vortex has an amazing system for taking care of their customers. 100%. I 100% support Vortex in their efforts and their marketing and stuff like that for taking care of their customers. I will say that up front. They do it better than just about anyone else. So they send you paperwork back with these things, and 2 of them that I can remember, and I've long since thrown the paperwork away because I didn't care anymore, it was a repair. So I'm just assuming that's all they did is repair and send it back. Okay. One of them I believe was a full replacement, and I think that might be the one I have now. Like I said, I cannot verify and remember because I've thrown this paperwork away. I've moved 3 times since then, because who knows where it went. So this one, the one I have back that I believe is the full replacement, I haven't had any major issues with. I can sometimes get the feeling that there's a problem with the 0, because I'll get a little bit of a shift, but we're talking like quarter-minute shifts. Quarter-minute shifts could be a lot-to-lot issue with ammo and load and powder, primer, bullets, all that kind of stuff too. So I haven't called it a problem, and I haven't wanted to send it back. I wanted to just road test this sucker, and I'm 3 years on now. I'm 3 years. I'm 3 years on with having this on this rifle specifically and not moving it and just road testing it. And I think we've got the problem sorted out. So I'm pleased with it. At the end of the day, I'm pleased with the fact that at the end of the day, I did get a good quality working optic. I just don't like that I had to go through that much to do it. And I don't think for such an expensive optic, you should have to do that. I'm glad that if there is an issue, which my just thinking back on it, I'm kind of recalling this as I'm talking about it. I think the first scope I got was just a lemon. That's what I'm going to assume. It was a lemon that had issues they tried to fix along the way, and eventually got to the point where, hey, we can't get this fixed. Let's send the guy a new scope. I've heard similar stories from other people with this specific scope, the 2-10s, and the MOA. Oddly enough, it's because I've got an MOA, and this is the only MOA scope I own. And so I've heard that before from other people. Not a whole lot, just a few, but it was enough to make me raise a flag, like maybe there was a lot number that went, or a lot there in 1 year time frame or whatever, the manufacturing lot that went bad, that just they had problems with. Maybe they switched manufacturers, maybe there was a QC issue, whatever. But overall, everybody else I talked to about Vortex loves them. I've hesitated to buy any more with my own money, other than the cheap ones for like 22s, because I had that one experience with this one scope that kind of soured me a little bit, and I haven't wanted to drop big money on like a Razor or another Viper line of thing, or even a Golden Eagle or whatever, I guess in fear of maybe running into the same issue. Maybe it's just made me a little gun shy on Vortex, because I know people out there that shoot nothing but Vortex and they love it, and they've got great experience with it, and they have great warranty experience. But that's the problem. So many people I talk to have had to use the warranty program to fix issues with their scopes, and I don't know that I've heard of another line of scopes that has that many problems on that broad of a scale. And it doesn't seem to be with all of the lines, it only seems to be with some of the lines, and that to me says that there's a manufacturing issue at some of the places they're being manufactured. Now when it comes to the Golden Eagle and the Razor HD line, I haven't personally witnessed anybody needing a warranty on those. I haven't personally, heard anecdotally of people needing much warranty work on those, so that's a great thing, because those are like the highest of high end that they make, and those ones I would assume you should never have really problems with them because they're such quality build. It's like Steiner and stuff like that, and Collis and stuff. You don't really hear about people having to send those type of scopes back very often, and if you do, they fix it, they replace it, whatever. But you don't really hear about people having to send them back that often. Even stuff like SWFA, which is another kind of cheap scope company, that I've used a lot over the years, I've only ever had to send one back, one total out of dozens that I've owned or sold or built for people, or had buddies that had them. One. Never had any other issues with that type of scope. So that's just the saga of the 2 to 10 in my shop. I don't know if that's a similar experience to what other people have shared out there. If you have experiences with the Vortex Viper line, let's specify the Viper PST line Gen 2s or Gen 1. Let me know in the comments. What has your experience been with them? Because I say this in the context of I'm moving forward. I'm looking at getting a couple other optics to review and stuff like that. And before I will throw anything out there on my suggestions or recommendations to people, I want to make sure that it's something that you're going to be pleased with overall, especially as a former FFL and gun store employee plus future, because I'm going to be opening my FFL back up. I kind of want to get everybody's bead or gauge in the industry or in the communities. What are your thoughts on the Vortex scopes overall? I love the Vortex podcast. I love the guys that work there. Like the guys that work for Vortex, they work in a company and stuff. They're passionate, they're driven, they're enthusiastic, they're shooters, they're hunters, they love what they do, and you can tell, and they are doing their best to make a really grand and fantastic product and product line for people out there with their optics. They got all kinds of different optics and stuff like that too, and they're always available. That's the beautiful thing about Vortex, is you can go just about anywhere and find them. They're always available. When do you ever hear about Vortexes going out of stock? Hardly ever. You can find them. They're available in just about any, all the ways you want to find them online or whatever. So it's a beautiful thing. They have a really great company, I guess, profile, and they have a great company ethos, and they have a great company product for the most part, from what I understand. My personal experience though with this one optic has not been great until the third one. I got this final one, which is, I love the glass. I can't say enough about the glass on these things. It is just crispy and clean and clear, and I should probably clean that because there's dust on that a little bit. I treat my optics with familiar disdain. I use them like the tools they are, and I will unabashedly break stuff because that's just how I roll. But I just prefer not to break coming out of the box, or want to be broken when I get it. That's all. Anyway, let me know what you think. Thank you for joining me again for this kind of a rant video. The saga of the PST 2 to 10. Would I buy it again? Not for $1,100. No. I'd trade for one. And mil radian. I don't like the MOA. But I wouldn't buy it again. Not for $1,100. For the hassle I went through with this one particular scope, I'm gonna say this is a subset of one. I wouldn't buy this one again. But I might try a Razor or Golden Eagle, something like that. But I love the size of this thing. The size, the shape, the length. I actually cut the sunshade off a little bit because it was too long. It was like this, so I cut it off, cut it in half. But I like the size of this scope. It's 30 millimeter with the smaller diameter front. It's a great DMR scope. It'd be a fantastic hunting scope for a bolt action, that kind of thing. And I don't know, I'm on the fence. I don't know, y'all let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Let me hear your thoughts. Thank you for joining me again. Y'all have a blessed day. Get out and do some shooting.